let's talk about how YouTube has changed and the corporatization of motorcycle media. Oh boy, people are gonna love this one. I have so much to say about this, man. Can we all agree that YouTube has changed? YouTube is different than it used to be, man, and that's okay. It's a platform, it's a website. It's not gonna stay the same like it always is, but I've been a creator on this platform for almost 10 years now. I started posting up videos in 2015 rather, and that was almost 10 years ago. And I've seen so many things change on this platform. We've gone from people making crazy vlogs and, you know, long form, like pretty banal content, but it still felt like it was like, you know, kind of like a real dude that was just doing stuff, to now where, especially in motorcycling, the vast majority of content is corporate controlled, and really the whole internet in general has become kind of enshittified, right? That's the term that I keep reading about. The enshittification of applications and websites, right? They feature bloat them, they put a bunch of crap in them. I don't think anybody wanted YouTube Shorts. They literally only did that because TikTok was stealing away precious hours of watch time and attention. And, you know, you have things like the Mr. Beast phenomenon that, you know, has like completely warped everyone's perception of what a successful YouTube channel is supposed to look like. I mean, when I started YouTube in 2015, the thought of someone doing this full-time, full tilt was like still very strange. Like the idea of an influencer or a professional YouTuber was very odd. You had people that were creating content for media companies, right, or other types of companies, which we're going to get into, as you saw the thumbnail of today's video, and those were kind of few and far in between, right? Like you had legacy media companies that used to be like written publications, motorcycle.com, Motorcyclist magazine. Like I still remember watching a Zach and Ari video comparing these beginner bikes, and that's what ultimately led me to buy my Yamaha R3. It was one of the contributing factors. I also was just an R-bike simp. But I've seen lots of things change on this platform, man, to the point where it doesn't feel like the small creator is trying to just be themselves or be authentic. It seems like their content and their viewpoints are slowly but surely warped by an algorithm to make it so that what they want to make is palatable to a wider audience, right? Because everything has metrics around it, right? Everything has metrics around engagement, retention, click-through, and if you're trying to have a successful channel, whatever that means to you, whether it's 1,000 views on a video or 10,000 subscribers, it would make sense for you to observe those types of things, right? And so what's been happening to me is, what's interesting is I've been watching some YouTube videos, and YouTube is now recommending me like really small channels with like 50 views on a video, like 100 subscribers, like real small channels. And it feels so authentic and like old school, and I really actually enjoy watching those videos. Some of my favorite product reviews or motorcycle reviews are of just like some old timer who bought something and he just like posted up a video about it. I recently bought a new lawnmower because I'm a suburban dad now, and yeah, I was just like, I saw this guy posting up a video about his lawnmower, and he was just like this real nice old guy. He was just going through it. He had like his 2 little dogs in the kitchen. It felt like I was hanging out in his home, and he was showing me his new lawnmower that he bought. And that is what YouTube used to be. YouTube used to be a place where you would broadcast yourself, right? I think that was the mission statement back in 2006, before some of you might have even been born. And now, oh my God, now it's like everybody's just trying to sell you something. And okay, I'm gonna get into it because the thumbnail talked about it. Let's talk about Revzilla and Fortnine. Okay, Revzilla and Fortnine are 2 of the most popular motorcycle-related YouTube channels that produce high-quality video content. They've gone about it in 2 very different ways. Let's talk about Revzilla first. Revzilla started back in 2006 or 2007, if memory serves me correctly. And the way that they changed the game was that they posted a lot of video reviews about the products that they sold, right? They're a gear distributor, a parts seller, that sort of thing. So they would warehouse items, sell them out to people, very classic e-commerce model, right? But they had Anthony from Revzilla, who was one of the founders, and this man militantly produced content, dude. I don't know how this guy had such god-tier output, but I think Anthony was in like like thousands of videos, man. If y'all remember, it was like, hey Anthony, Revzilla, watch and decide. We can watch, decide, and ride. Like, he had this crazy, like, amped up, coked out spiel that he did. Super high energy guy. And so they were really successful because nobody in motorcycling was doing that. Nobody was making videos about products. And I don't think it was a big deal when they were making videos about products, like showing people how the stuff looks, because that helped make sales, right? And they grew a lot. If you guys don't know, Revzilla is an enormous company that was bought out by a private equity group, and they formed the Komodo Group, right? This is a large conglomerate that owns Cycle Gear and JP Cycles and Revzilla, you know, like a $500 million operation, like real proper big time stuff. What happens when you have a really big company like that? You have, you know, people who at the top want more profit. They want more growth. They want more, right? And I think the most intelligent thing Revzilla ever did was hire Zach and Ari from Motorcyclist Magazine, who they then went on to do their own thing on Netflix, and you know, now they work for Revzilla and have been working there for I think some time. And you know, it's been really cool to see them come into their own on Revzilla. And again, one of the smartest things Revzilla ever did was hire these guys, because they are like diehard enthusiasts, like really likable, respectable characters in the community. I've had the chance to hang out and interact with Ari Henning several times. He is a real nice guy. I rented his Versa 650 in California. We've chatted over text and over the phone a few times. I think I met Zach once at MotoGP in Austin 1 year ago. I don't remember which year that was. Just caught up with him very briefly at the Revzilla booth, so I don't know him that well. But Ari is a really nice guy, but they're both really nice guys, right? And I think it's great that Revzilla has captured them, but I say captured as if they were like, you know, wild animals. They agreed to make content for Revzilla, right? But the corporatization of the content is really a bit of a bummer. I recently listened to a podcast episode where, I mean, they pretty much just went totally mask off and we're just like shilling for gear for 2 hours. And yes, it was couched in the understanding that you're like, oh, you know, like we're trying to help people make safer decisions and get the right gear and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it lacks a strong voice, in my opinion. It lacks that independent creator voice that we've come to expect on YouTube, because YouTube is no longer that place where everybody can just come and hang out and make their videos. And you know, you now have small creators competing with a $500 million company like Komodo, right? And that is unheard of in the history of YouTube, right? For you to be able to make something that competes with people that have enough connections, resources, deep pockets, and production value to put on the type of stuff they put on at the pace with which they put on, it's a completely losing battle, you know? And I say that as a very small media operation on Yami Noob, where I have a team of guys who help me out to make the content, because there's absolutely no way that I could make 5 to 6 videos per week at the cadence that we make them at by myself. That's insane. And so there's almost this expectation that if you are to make a YouTube channel, you're going to professionalize it. You're going to, you know, create something that is going to end up being super pro level. And that's what's been interesting to see with Fortnine. Fortnine, if you guys don't know, it used to be, I think they still are, basically Canada's version of Revzilla. They were a gear distributor, e-commerce operation, and much to the chagrin of Ryan's fans, and he has lots of fans that are very adamant and love his stuff, and for good reason. He makes great stuff. He does not own the Fortnine channel. He is not Fortnine. He is simply an employee, much like Zach and Ari are, at this company that he gets to be very creative at and make these wonderful videos. And he's very good at his job. You know, he's understood the YouTube algorithm over time, understood how to make those videos. And one of the ways that is different than what I do or what a lot of other YouTubers do is that Ryan's only job, as far as I can tell, is to create really, really good videos, right? He doesn't have to manage payroll. He doesn't have to manage people. He doesn't have to manage a P&L. He doesn't have to answer to investors. He doesn't have to answer to marketing meetings and growth meetings and, you know, big initiatives. As far as I can tell, I've never talked to the guy very much, but it seems to be the case that all he is, you know, a video content creator. And that's why the videos are so good. He has focus, he has time, he has bandwidth and ability to make the best videos possible. And A lot of people on YouTube expect every YouTuber to be like that, but it just doesn't work that way, man. Unless you have the backing of a large company like Fortnine or Revzilla that provides you the security to create these amazing videos, there is no way that you can make one really amazing video per month and expect to pay the bills and expect to have everything go well for you. There are some creators that can do that because they've built up a reputation for quality and have built up an incredible following based on that stuff, but it's still risky. It's risky because if you spend a month working on a video and it doesn't take off the way you expected it to, whether the concept wasn't right, whether the thumbnail wasn't right, the title wasn't right, maybe the intro didn't have a strong enough hook, maybe you didn't consider the retention enough, right? And that video flops, well, you're kind of screwed, right? Because a lot of these bigger channels obviously depend on YouTube's AdSense revenue. Whereas, for a company like Revzilla, their AdSense revenue is an accounting error. 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month in ad revenue is an accounting error to Revzilla. They don't care about that. They care more about how much engagement and viewership this content had. And again, the whole thing has become so professionalized to the point of sanitization, and that's why I think the small independent creator and the media companies that aren't just trying to sell you stuff all the time, that's where I think the difference is made, and that's why I think it has a much stronger voice and is much more engaging, right? Again, no shade to Revzilla or Fortnine. I really think they've done the best they can with which the parameters they've been offered, right? The whole media team at Fortnine and Revzilla, these are all people that they have families to support and they have paychecks they need to make to keep their mortgages going, and like they're regular people like anybody else who's watching YouTube. But to expect media companies to all be able to play on the same field on YouTube is really, really, really tough. I think about Donut Media too, for example. Donut Media is a gigantic car channel, but they didn't start that way, right? Donut Media, I think, was the brainchild of a guy that used to drift, Chris Forsberth? I don't know, I'm really stretching here. But anyways, I know that was their beginnings. It was a side hustle, like just fun little channel that the guy was running. And they started creating extremely good videos that got really good view and watch time and reach. And now they have a 7 million subscriber channel that, as far as I know, is owned by Discovery Media Group. And, now you have to answer to a large company, right? And I'm sure all those guys are on payroll and they get to make a good living. And again, that's the difference, right? If you're able to focus on the videos 100% and make a good living, then that's a really good spot to be, That's a really good place to be if you can just focus on making videos and having fun and doing that sort of thing. But, for the independent YouTube creator, it's a lot more stressful than that. I was actually talking to Jake over at Spike's Corner, who used to work at Yammy Noob. We went on a ride together, and he was saying that in a way, it was easier at Yammy Noob because all he had to do was focus on the videos, right? I used to pay him a salary, benefits, all that good stuff. And now that he runs his own channel, I'm assuming it's going well and he's successful and he's enjoying it, but it comes with a lot more stress. And it's a lot harder to do that. And that's why, it's kind of frustrating sometimes when people say like, oh, the video quality is suffering, or oh, you're not doing the cool stuff that I see Revzilla doing, like, oh, why don't you do like a freaking 10-day, multi-day adventure on this bike or whatever? Because it all comes down to dollars and cents. When you run a YouTube channel, unless you have a big company backing you, there's not that much money to go around. Like, I don't know, some of these channels I see and I'm like, all right, this must be like trust fund money, or, you have some other source of wealth, because it really doesn't add up. You see a guy with like 200K subscribers who's getting like 50K views buying like 6 Lamborghinis. You're like, well, that doesn't really add up, does it? But yeah, I think the whole landscape is so different nowadays, and I wanted to make this video just to, talk with you guys about it. I think it's an interesting topic, and I think it's something that we're seeing, morph and evolve to where even the small creator is trying to be so professionalized now, because it's a pathway to making real money, kind of quit your job money. And when that's on the table, when people see that as an opportunity, they will go for it, at the detriment of their own personal sanity or their own well-being or their own work-life balance. you know, I did that in 2017 and 18. I saw that there was an opportunity for me to do this full time, and I went after it. I like militantly went after it. Every weekend I was grinding. I was looking at how to grow the channel and how to get good views and how to get good watch time and what should I focus on. And, you know, it led me to the point that I'm at now, and I'm really grateful for it, but it's really not for everybody. There is a certain, like, I think, you know, neurological profile, let's say, that is well suited and adapted to being on YouTube professionally. So many people, if they don't have that kind of profile, can get super burnt out doing this. They can get super discouraged. They can take the comments super seriously, and they can ultimately just want to quit. And I completely get that. It's kind of like you know, computer programming. It's really not for everybody. Not everybody's brains can work in that way, that will go out there and be able to look at if-then loops and, you know, random statements and troubleshoot crap and different scripts and coding languages. It's a very specific type of brain profile. And I think the YouTuber or the online media personality, whatever you want to call it, if you're doing it the kind of old school way of like launching your own channel, doing it that way, you gotta be, man, it's a lot of work, and you gotta be so diligent. You gotta be that kind of guy or gal, and it's not easy. And I can understand why, for the likes of Zach and Ari and Spurge, even Ryan from Fortnine, you know, you get the fun parts of being a video creator online without the stress of you know, oh, like, am I gonna make payroll this month? Or, oh, like the AdSense went down this month, what are we gonna do? Like, oh, like we need to pump up more merch sales, or what's going on with that? Oh, what's going on with our sponsor deals? Because that's something that I found really interesting is Revzilla in the past few years, on their common tread, you know, videos, the daily riders and the experience, they used to do these things where it was like, oh, it's powered by Progressive or Motul or this and that. Now, they, like I said, they've kind of gone a little more mask off, where they go, no, this video is just straight up supported by Revzilla, the big ass company we work for. Go buy shit from Revzilla. And like, I don't have anything wrong with that, because that's how they pay the bills. But I think it's funny that they've become so much more just in your face about it. They're like, yeah, go buy shit from Revzilla, because that's how we make content. And, you know, again, totally fair. If you have a $500 million a year operation between J&P Cycles, Cycle Gear, Revzilla, all this stuff, sure, you know, you could make the case that, yeah, buying stuff from Revzilla will help support their paychecks, right? But yeah, again, not everybody wants to be a full tilt, you know, business owner, entrepreneur, even though I really don't like that term for people who have YouTube channels, because it's not exactly correct. Like, truthfully, we're just glorified Google contractors. Like, that's really it. Like, when I look at my financials for the year, a big line item is Google AdSense dollars, and yeah, that's how the whole thing is built upon. It's built upon the fact that I have an audience, and Google pays me a good amount of money to support a team and other stuff that goes on, and that's the way it is, right? I want to reiterate that I have a ton of respect for the Revzilla team, for Fortnine, anybody who, Donut Media, all these people I talked about, because even if you are just, you know, an employee at a company, it's still not easy to make really good videos. And the expertise that Zach and Ari specifically have is incredible. You know, these are lifelong motorcyclists. These are guys that are racers, builders. I mean, some of the stuff I see Ari do on Instagram, I'm like, how's this dude even doing this on his spare time? Like, he's rebuilding engines. I don't know. They're amazing. The stuff they make is really, really cool. But I do get sad about the fact that it's so corporate nowadays. We are so far removed from the old days of YouTube, and for you to compete as a small-time creator, I mean, your video is going to get put right up against Revzilla, where they did some crazy common tread experience adventure that you couldn't possibly put together, because they have 5 or 6 guys in the back end, you know, planning and scheming and working on it. You know, like, there's no way. And we've done some of that stuff here on Yami Noob, where we do some more, like, you know, ambitious things. Like, we got like a Gixxer 250 and like scrambler-ified it and did a bunch of silly stuff with it. But I bought that Chinese bike last year, and I made a whole bunch of goofs about it. But you know what's so funny is those videos, despite getting like really big engagement, big views, and they're great for the channel, you know, from an AdSense perspective, they pretty much break even. I was talking to one of my buddies about this because he really didn't understand the kind of the volume play that you have to do with YouTube, such that, you know, you can't just, like, one video, you know, unless you're one of those channels that you put out a video gets freaking 20 million views, one video doesn't contribute all that much to watch time and those sort of things. It's much more specific that you have to get, like, you know, a big volume of library that all gets views. Because this is something I see a lot where people will look at a channel and say, oh, your views fell off, like you're not getting any views. And it's like, no, man, like there's all the other videos that get views, you know? Like I have a huge catalog of videos that keep getting views, and without that, you know, the one video I made that got 200K views doesn't make nearly enough to support the whole rigmarole, you know? So that's something to consider too, is like, you know, you buy a $4,000 little Chinese bike or whatever, you gotta make a lot of views to make that back, you know? Probably at least 1 million views across all the uploads, easily. Maybe a little less, if my math is serving me correctly there. No, a little less, maybe like 600K, 700K, something like that. But you need to make really solid views. And don't even get me started on shorts. Because shorts are the bane of my existence. Shorts are literally worthless, absolutely worthless. I talked about this before on a podcast that I was featured on, where I was asked, like, oh, like, yeah, I saw this short got like 1.2 million views, how much did you make? And I'm like, bro, that thing made like $34 on a 1.2 million views, because there's no watch time attached to it, because it's worthless. And I think it's so fascinating that, you know, companies like Revzilla and Fortnine, like, yes, they dabble a little bit in shorts, but it is not nearly the main strategy they do. So if you see a creator that's getting like, you know, 10 million views on shorts, it is not the same as getting 10 million views on a long form video. Not even close to the same thing. Not even close. So that's a big difference too. But yeah, all that to say, huge respect to everyone who's making content on YouTube. Spite's Corner, Fortnine, Revzilla, Donut Media, all the smaller independent motorcycle creators that are out there doing it by themselves. Shout out to Doodle on a Motorcycle, right? A female contributor holding it down in a largely male-dominated space, we have to admit, for motorcycling. You know, putting yourself out there on YouTube is a lot more scary than people think. I see a lot of comments where, you know, you'll put heart and soul into a video and someone just dumps all over it. And you got to remember, they don't make YouTube videos, man. They don't know what it goes into making a video. You know, my list videos, my scripted videos, those easily, for all the pre-production time, those easily take 20 hours per video of man hours to make. It takes a lot of effort and energy to make those videos. And yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap up my thoughts about this corporatization of media. This was a real rambly kind of vlog, but I did want to kind of keep it more old school, you know? I thought it'd be fun to have some fun and kick it kind of old school with this, and I thought you guys would enjoy. So yeah, if y'all enjoyed this, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to start a discussion about this. I think it'd be really great. So y'all just let me know. Look at this legend over here. Love it. But yeah, y'all just let me know. I appreciate you if you watch this video all the way to the end here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.